Shalom, everyone. So today I'm going to do a little presentation about the Kaaba in the Quran. Somebody sent me an email and asked me where I thought the Kaaba refers to in the Quran, and whether I thought that that was actually in the Mecca, which I've identified on the Khabar River, according to the sources in my previous videos, or related to the Temple Mount, the stone of the Temple Mount, because of the Qibla, which is the early masjids as synagogues faced towards the Temple Mount, or somewhere else. And I gave my answer, and they suggested that I should make that. I said I'm going to do a presentation about that. I've got some work on it, and they said no, do the presentation now. So I'm going to do it now, even though it's not finished. Shalom, Yaakov, Matityahu. So here we go. Let's just get this up and do the presentation. So the Kaaba of the Quran is not the same. Or let's put it this way: the Kaaba of the Quran has got nothing to do with the Qibla of the early masjids, because the Qibla of the early masjids faces the Temple Mount. That's correct, because they were synagogues, and all synagogues faced Temple Mount. So that's a focus for Jews. But the Kaaba is from a messianic document. You see, the Quran is not a simply Jewish document. It's a messianic document. It's a document of messianic Hebrews. So the Kaaba as a place of pilgrimage, and this is the point of the pilgrimage, where I said the pilgrimage is to Jerusalem, I believe is to something called the Holy Sepulchre, which is the tomb of Jesus Christ in Jerusalem. And the basis I have had for that is a poem by Sophronius, which goes like this. It says, "Let me walk thy pavements and go inside the Anastasis." You see, it's about pilgrimage, you see. And it's important that Sophronius, just so you remember, is actually a very important 7th century patriarch of Jerusalem, who in fact met Omar, who I've identified in the past as, I believe, being the historical Muhammad, who was not a believer in Christ when he conquered Jerusalem or when he met Sophronius, but as I said in my presentations, converted to that religion before his death, or at least nearly converted. So, so Sophronius here is talking about the pilgrimage to the Kaaba. He says, "Let me walk thy pavements and go inside the Anastasis, where the King of all rose again, trampling down the power of death. I will venerate the sweet floor and gaze on the holy cube," that's Kaaba, "and the great four," and then this, the poem is broken off, "something like heavens. Through the divine sanctuary I will penetrate the divine tomb, and with deep reverence will venerate that worthy tomb, surrounded by its conches and columns, surmounted by golden lilies. I shall be overcome with joy." So that was his poem there. And this is the Kaaba we're talking about here. It's actually a little view from the Kaaba pointing up, and you can see it's designed in such a way that the light will come down and shine upon it at certain times of the day very beautifully. But I also have some more examples, better examples here. Here's another example. You can find some beautiful pictures of it. Now, it's been destroyed and rebuilt several times, but it's fundamentally still in the cube shape. It's had a little extension put on at the back. Here's another one. And another one from the front. So that's what I think the Kaaba is. That's what I've always thought it was. And I hope that that explains the Quranic pilgrimages and the Kaaba in the Quran, which is, I always say, a messianic document. It's for the messianic Hebrews. And this has got nothing to do with the Jewish religion. Specifically, it's a Sadducee religion of the conquerors, and Omar was of that religion when he conquered Jerusalem. Okay, got a couple of comments there, just read through them. Thank you, Yaakov, Matityahu, Shalom. Thank you, Father Michael Darcy. That's lovely of you to say so. And Yaakov says, "Hi, Red. We heard from Joe, we heard from Joe from Speaker's Corner that you were the first to suggest that Omar was the original Muhammad of Islam. Well, there's only one Joe, and it's not, he's not of Speaker's Corner. I'm Joe, and this is my channel, Yaakov. And I'm not a member of Sneakers Corner. I don't work for Sneakers Corner, and I've never been a member of their team. I was invited to speak on Sneakers Corner by Mel back in, I think, September or August last year, and I was consulting for Sneakers Corner a few times in a friendly capacity until Mel decided to try and discredit me because of my views, of my Jewish views earlier this year, although I'm quite happy that he's now come around to accepting all of my views. And that's good, you know, truth will out, won't it? In the end, truth will out. But don't confuse me with anyone else. I am Joe. There is no Joe of Sneakers Corner, okay, or Speaker's Corner. I'm Joe of Red Judaism, and he's just quoting me. And I haven't been in communication with him, by the way, since March. So just so you know, he's actually just catching up to my position on that, Yaakov Matatyahu, okay? So please don't get confused. Yeah, exactly, Father Michael Darcy. It's a case of, well, it's not exactly a case of mistaken identity. It's more like, well, it could be if we consider that Muhammad as a prophet never existed. Joe of Sneakers Corner never existed. It's me. It's me. You've taken. It's actually much more like, you know, they take Muhammad out of the context because Muhammad is actually a reference to Jesus Christ. It's not a title. It's actually a literal reference, a Messianic Hebrew reference to Jesus Christ, the Messianic angel, who is taken out of Christian context and put into a false context by Abbasid Islam. So you can say, yes, I've been taken out of my context and put into a false context as a member of a club or a research group called Sneakers Corner, which I'm not. I've got nothing to do with that group. I just was consulting in a friendly capacity from the time that I first spoke on that channel until I started my own channel. And I started my own channel because I could see that there was not much hope of, I thought there was not much hope of me getting my point across through Sneakers Corner. So I started it last year. And actually, to his credit, Mel mentioned that I was trying to convince him of this Omar Muhammad relationship, and that trying to turn him off the idea of Iyas being Muhammad back in December. He said eight months ago in the video that he presented on Jay's channel just recently. So to his credit, you know, that's true. And but in the end, we fell out over the matter of Iyas specifically and Haran. I disagreed that Haran. I said Haran was not got anything. You know, he said that there was a Mecca was between the Hajj, the pilgrimage was between Mecca and Sanliurfa in Turkey, and I said no, that's ridiculous. And I presented a different idea of where I thought Mecca was, and I was going to try and get people to consider the pilgrimage to the Kaaba, the cube that I'm just speaking about right now, which I was told was also likely ridiculous. But anyway, so we had differences of opinions, and also I disagreed that Iyas was. We can't identify Iyas as Muhammad because Iyas was very clearly on the Persian side and a member of the Persian Empire and an enemy to the Free Arabs. He was an enemy to the Free Arabs. So the Free Arab state of Tajikistan was fighting against Iyas and basically got to the point of conquering him in year 633. But that was a long time after they were already independent. So at least 10 years about after they were already independent. So there was a disagreement on that, and I suggested there was no historical Muhammad before Omar. That was my suggestion. And I was also, because I was suggesting Omar is a Sadducee, and that their religion was Sadducee Judaism, and that he converted to Christianity towards the end of his life, and that's why we have the Quran being a Messianic Hebrew document, which has a view on Jesus as from a monophysite point of view, which is compatible with a Judaic view of like an angelic Messiah, Jesus as an angelic Messiah, which is compatible. That's how you can read the Quran. So I went off and presented all these ideas, tried to present all these ideas by myself, and I'm very glad that everybody else has come on board with these ideas by now. So that's great. So that's how it works. Well, it's about disagreements are welcome. This is how we should encourage. I think the matter is simply about how long you've been studying the issue. Remember, I began this in the early 1990s, and that's been my special topic because I've been focused on Messianic Noahites, reaching out to the children of Noah from Messianic religions like Islam and Christianity, and trying to introduce them to ways that they can see Jesus as Messiah within Judaism, which is basically only viewing him as an angelic Messiah, rather than viewing him as a human Messiah, because if you can't say he's a human Messiah unless the Sanhedrin approves him of being a human Messiah, and so there's that sort of thing is built into Judaism, and there's no way to have him as a human Messiah within Judaism, except that he is accepted by the Jewish authorities as being a Jewish Messiah. So you can't get around this. It's like a catch-22 situation. You can't get around it. The only way you can have Jesus as Messiah, if you're as the Jewish Messiah, if you're from the Bnei Noah, children of Noah, is if you accept him as an angelic being, because we know that the Messiah is an angelic being, as maybe an emanation of God. But I've got a video on Jewish theology, so which is about this, or at least the beginning of God's creation. That you can view him as the Messiah with that perspective in mind, and you don't need the approval of Jewish authorities because they've already approved that. They already accept that's the fact. That leaves you with the kind of the messy situation of them criticizing those of us who regard the Son of Mary as being this angelic being, because they'll say, well, clearly he wasn't an angelic being. He was a human. He was born in the womb. He grew up as a normal human being amongst us. He ate food. He suffered death, and he was buried. So that is like a kind of it's craziness. It's madness. How can you say that somebody who appeared in all ways to be just nothing other than a common human being was actually some kind of angelic being who just appeared in the womb of Mary, and like an embryo, and grew as a child, and was born and grew up as a man, and then died? How can you say that? That's just madness. Okay, they might call it mad, but there's actually no rule against it in Judaism. It's completely compatible with Judaism. It's just not compatible with we can say it's not compatible with well, you can say with standard views and what might be sane or insane, but that's not a matter for Judaism. That's not a matter of Judaism. It's completely unrelated to Judaism. So it's the only way to have Jesus as the Jewish Messiah, the Messiah, within Judaism, is to view him in this way, which is the way that I'm suggesting that Omar would have converted to, or nearly converted to at least, before he died. Probably converted. That's why he was assassinated, according to the Islamic narrative. That's my theory. That this Jewish view on the Messiah is what he would have converted to. That you don't need any approval of Jewish authorities for this view, because that is already approved. They can say you're mad for believing in such a thing, but they can't say that what you're saying is non-Judaic. It's completely Judaic. It's completely within the folds of Judaism. So that's the way I try to explain things. Okay, so and that is so the point of that there is that this is the place traditionally where that resurrection is supposed to have happened. And they put the cubicle in it. That's the Kaaba, according to the poem of Sophronius, which I have up here. All right. Okay, so I hope you found that interesting, useful, and I just have to now turn off this as long as there are no questions about it. Okay, thank you very much for listening. God bless you all. Take care.